It's November 18th, 1978, deep in the sweaty, suffocating jungles of Guyana, South America. The air is thick with humidity, buzzing with insects, and there's this eerie hum, like the world knows something awful's about to go down. Jonestown, a ramshackle settlement carved out of the wilderness, is home to over 900 people, men, women, kids, all part of Jim Jones's People's Temple. They came here chasing a paradise, a place free of racism and greed. But tonight, that dream's about to bleed out in the most horrifying way imaginable. The pavilion's packed, bodies pressed close, sweat dripping down faces etched with exhaustion. Jones's voice crackles over the loudspeaker, slurred and frantic, like a preacher possessed. "We're going to meet in another place," he says, his words dripping with a sick kind of calm. Death is just a step to the other side. People are crying, some shouting, but most are just numb. Then it starts, the white night they'd rehearsed so many times. Only this ain't no drill. Mothers clutch their babies, trembling as guards, armed with rifles and blank stares, pass out cups of grape flavor aid. It's not just juice, though. It's laced with cyanide, Valium, and chloral hydrate. A cocktail brewed for death. The first to go are the kids. A nurse, her hand shaking, grabs a syringe and jabs it into a toddler's arm. The kid screams, thrashing, then goes limp, eyes rolling back, foam bubbling at the mouth. Another mom, sobbing, tilts a cup to her 5-year-old's lips. "Drink it, baby, it's okay," she whispers, tears mixing with the purple stain on her shirt. The child chokes, gags, collapses in her arms, dead in minutes, skin turning blue as the poison eats through her tiny body. Adults are next. Some gulp it down willingly, eyes glazed with blind faith. Others fight. Oh, they fight hard. A man bolts for the jungle, but a guard tackles him, pins him down, and forces the liquid into his throat with a funnel. He kicks, claws at the dirt, but it's no use. His body convulses, blood vessels bursting, until he's just another corpse in the pile. A woman screams as a guard rips her baby from her arms, pouring the poison down its throat while she's held back, helpless, watching it die. Then they shove a cup in her face, and she's gone too. The scene's chaos, pure, stomach-churning chaos. Bodies drop like flies, hundreds of them, sprawled across the muddy ground, faces twisted in agony. The air reeks of vomit, piss, and that sweet, artificial grape smell. Jones keeps ranting over speakers. Die with dignity. This is revolutionary suicide, even as his own hands tremble. By the end, 909 people are dead, 304 of them kids, lying in heaps, some still clutching each other, frozen in their last gasps. Jones? He's slumped in a chair, a bullet through his skull, probably self-inflicted, though some whisper his nurse did it before offing herself. This wasn't just a tragedy. It was a slaughter, a slow-motion horror show that'd haunt the world forever. And the guy behind it? Jim Jones. Let's peel back the layers of this monster, because trust me, there's a hell of a lot to unpack. So, who is this guy? This Jim Jones, who turned a jungle commune into a graveyard. Born May 13th, 1931, in Crete, Indiana, a nowhere town during the Great Depression. He didn't exactly scream future cult leader at first glance. His dad, James Thurman Jones, was a broke, alcoholic World War I vet who barely kept the family afloat. His mom, Lynetta Putnam, was a real firecracker, tough, outspoken, working odd jobs to feed them. They lived in a shack with no plumbing, the kind of place where you feel the cold seeping through the walls. Little Jimmy was a weird kid, skinny and quiet, with dark eyes that seemed to see right through you. Growing up, he was obsessed with two things, religion and death. His buddy Chuck Wilmore once told a documentary crew, Jimmy was freaky. He'd kill cats with a knife just to see what had happened. Neighbors said he'd hold funerals for dead animals, preaching over their tiny graves like some pint-sized prophet. He'd drag kids to church, any church, Pentecostal, Methodist, whatever, soaking up the fire and brimstone vibes. Lynetta claimed he'd stand on the porch, shouting sermons to nobody, like he was already rehearsing for something big. School was a bust. He was smart but awkward, a loner who didn't fit. By 1949, he graduated high school, married Marceline Baldwin, a sweet nurse he met at a hospital job, and moved to Indianapolis. That's where it all started. In 1955, he founded the People's Temple, a little Pentecostal gig at first, but with a twist. He preached racial equality in a time when segregation was king. Black folks, poor folks, they flocked to him. He'd heal the sick, read minds, and promise a world where everyone's equal. It was a con, but damn, he sold it well. Fast forward to the 60s. He moves the temple to California. First Ukiah, then San Francisco. He's got thousands now, a mix of black and white, young and old, all eating out his hand. He's hobnobbing with big shots, Angela Davis, Harvey Milk, even Rosalind Carter. He's got power, money, and a growing paranoia that the feds are out to get him. By 1977, after a magazine expose calls out his abuse and scams, he bolts to Guyana with his flock, promising a socialist paradise called Jonestown. Spoiler. It's a prison camp with a preacher as warden. So what turned Jim Jones from a quirky kid into a mass-murdering psycho? Let's dig into his head. Fair warning, it's a messed-up place. Growing up poor and weird probably didn't help. His dad was a ghost. His mom a dreamer who filled his head with big ideas. Some say he caught the religion bug early, but twisted it with a need to control. Others point to his fascination with Hitler. Yep, little Jimmy admired how the Fuhrer went out on his terms, dodging capture. That's a red flag right there. Psychologists later called him a narcissist with a side of paranoia and a sprinkle of sadism. He craved adoration, needed it like air. The temple wasn't just a church. It was his kingdom, and he was God. He'd sleep with followers, men and women, claiming it was spiritual, while Marceline turned a blind eye. He'd beat dissenters bloody, locked them in boxes underground, all while preaching love. Sleep deprivation, drugs, amphetamines mostly, kept him wired and his people docile. Survivor Terry Buford O'Shea once said, "He'd keep us tired and poor so we couldn't fight back." The move to Guyana cranked it up. Isolated, no escape. He ruled like a dictator. He'd rant over loudspeakers for hours, day, night. Didn't matter about the CIA, the end of the world, how only he could save them. He staged fake white knights, making everyone practice suicide with Kool-Aid, testing loyalty. It was a mind game, and he was winning. Deep down, he knew the gig was up, rumors of abuse, defectors talking, a congressman sniffing around. That's when the mask slipped, and the monster took over. Let's zoom in on that final day, November 18th, 1978, because this is where the horror hits peak levels. It starts with Congressman Leo Ryan, a California rep who'd heard the cries for help from Jonestown families. He flies down with a crew, reporters, aides, concerned relatives to check it out. Jones plays nice at first, all smiles and tours, but the cracks show. People slip Ryan notes. "Help us, we're trapped." By the 17th, 14 defectors are ready to bounce with him. Next day, they're at the Port Kaituma airstrip, boarding planes. That's when Jones's goons roll up, armed to the teeth. Gunfire erupts. Ryan's head explodes, blood and brains splatter in the tarmac. 3 reporters and a defector drop too, riddled with bullets. 5 dead, others, like A. Jackie Spear, shot up and alive, playing dead in the chaos. The killers peel out, mission accomplished. Back at Jonestown, Jones loses it. "They're coming for us!" he screams over the speakers. The congressman's dead, there's no way out. He calls everyone to pavilion. Says it's time for revolutionary suicide, a term he borrowed from Huey Newton, but twisted into something vile. The poison's ready, cyanide from a stash he'd stockpiled, mixed into vats of flavor aid. Guards ring the crowd, rifles cocked, making sure nobody runs. First, the babies. Nurses with syringes move through, injecting kids, some as young as 6 months. Parents wail as their little one sees up, limbs jerking, mouths frothing. Older kids get cups, some force at gunpoint. A 10-year-old boy tries to spit it out. A guard smashes his face with a rifle, but then pours it down his throat. He's dead in 5 minutes, eyes wide open, staring at nothing. Adults line up or get dragged. A guy named Stanley Clayton watches his wife choke it down, then bolts, hiding in a ditch as screams fill the air. Some drink quietly, believing Jones's lies about crossing over. Others get pinned, arms twisted, poison funneled into them. One woman, Christine Miller, argues we can live, but Jones shuts her down. It's too late. She's forced to drink, collapses, clawing at her throat. It's over in hours. Bodies everywhere. Moms cradling dead kids, husbands and wives tangled together. Faces purple and bloated. Flies swarm the mess. Jones sits in his chair, ranting till the end, then bang, a .38 slug through his head. His nurse, Annie Moore, shoots herself too. When Guyanese troops roll in next day, they find Hyacinth Thrash, a 76-year-old who slept through it all, the only one left breathing in that hellhole. This didn't just happen overnight. Let's rewind and trace the carnage. Jones starts small, beatings in Indy, humiliation in Cali, but by Guyana, he's full tyrant. He'd killed dissenters quietly at first, poison, accidents, but the big one's brewing. From 1977 to 78, Jonestown's a pressure cooker. Forced labor, starvation rations, constant brainwashing. Defectors like Deborah Layton spill the beans to the press. Torture, kids dying, suicide drills. That's what brings Ryan. The body count? 918 total, 909 in Jonestown, 5 at the airstrip, 4 elsewhere. Nearly a third are kids. Some say he planned it all along. Others think he snapped when Ryan's visit blew his cover. Either way, he took community, a messed-up hopeful family, and turned it into a slaughterhouse. Jones's downfall's a slow burn, till it a wildfire. After the massacre, the feds dig in, FBI, CIA, you name it. Survivors like Tim Carter and Odell Rhodes tell their stories, haunted as hell. The death tape, 47 minutes of Jones's final rant, gets out, chilling the world. Guyana's a mess. Bodies rotting in the heat. ID's a nightmare. Back home, the temple's done. Bank accounts seized. Members scattered. Jones's legacy? A ghost that won't quit. Drinking the Kool-Aid becomes a sick catchphrase, but survivors hate it. Carter called it trivializing murder. The trauma ripples. Families gutted. San Francisco's black community hollowed out. He's cremated. Ashes dumped in the Atlantic. But the stain's permanent. So what drove him? Power, plain and simple. Jones fed off control over minds, bodies, souls. The psych stuff says narcissist, sure, but it's deeper. He was a void, filling himself with their faith, till it wasn't enough. Paranoia ate him alive. Drugs and isolation finished the job. He didn't just want followers. He wanted gods to worship him, then die for him. And they did. This tale's a warning, my friend. Evil doesn't always growl. It smiles, preaches, hugs you close. Jones was that evil, and Jonestown was its altar. Sleep tight, yeah? Let me know if you want more shadows to chase.